12, 13. Alright, I should have been already on this thing. Give you a little pan view. I should be using the OBS. So I'm using OBS software, streaming software. It's been pretty good. Unfortunately, I am not using a video tripod. I'm using a still photography tripod. I had my other tripod was pretty good, except that it finally kind of gave in, and so I don't have it anymore. So I think I kind of gave you an overview. All I'm doing here is sealing in the drawing. So, yeah, that's all that is. I'll try to move my headphones in closer. Hopefully I have a little bit better angle on the access of the lens to the perpendicular to the plane of the canvas. You know, 90 degree. Is it 90? Or is it 180? Yeah, 90. That's 183. Yeah, it's 90 degree. I went to Mass again this morning. And, I don't know. I'm a bad Catholic because I don't confess. So, and I really shouldn't say much about it. He's talking about the priest started talking about the Nazis and I guess the I don't know. But there was a gentleman that was I guess he was freaked out because I'm an old guy, and he might be older than me, but he was clean cut, and he had a full head of hair. But he was just, you know, when you can feel somebody burning a hole in the back of your head just by staring. I kept feeling something. This dude was, he was next to the person, his wife, I guess, behind me, and he was just burning a hole through me. Every time I kind of even panned a little, I could just see him staring at me, and I don't know if it was my hair or my beard. My beard was tucked into my shirt, so it looked shorter than it really is. And but I don't know. Last week it was parents with a bunch of kids. The kids were pretty much getting in my face. Anyways, that's over. And then I got back over here, and just a little while ago, I got a message from the landlord about one of our neighbors who's been sick. And he's been sick, and he's just been, I know what happened to him. It's what happens when you don't stop smoking and drinking whiskey all day. You cannot drink. You can't smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey for 2 days in a row. But me and the other neighbor, she's got a heart of gold. She's really been helping him out a lot. But anyways, got this message from the landlord that he would appreciate a visit at the rehab, and it's like we've been trying to get a hold of him because he went missing. It's just a cluster F of I'm an old man. We're the same age, me and this guy. But he sent a message that he would appreciate us visiting him. And this whole while, me and the other neighbor have been, getting him into the hospital, trying to contact his family who wouldn't visit him. They didn't even know and it's his ex-wife. She was shamed into helping him by him, I guess. But I told her, hey, if you're not married to him, you're not really. Like I was telling her, I'm not holding anything against you. If you're not married to him, you're not married to him, But the daughters didn't visit him, and I shouldn't be. Well, I'm not naming names, so I guess I'm cool. But anyways, I just got this message about that. It insinuated that I don't think the landlord knew, but the insinuation was kind of that from him that we weren't visiting him. And this guy has been crowing to me about how on his day off he's gonna just drink all day and I'm gonna smoke and drink all day long. Whatever, But yeah, he's smoking Pall Malls, longs, hundreds, I guess you call them, Pall Mall hundreds. And those are, I was actually helping him out by bumming a cigarette off of him, and that was one less cigarette that he was having to smoke, but he would get pissed. But it was, so I don't think the landlord knows how much the neighbor, because she drove him to the hospital. I don't use a car, so I was going to tell him, just get an Uber and go to the, but then he went to Dell, and I think they gave him short shrift there, because they sent him home with generic eardrops. So I just kind of had to update the landlord, because I think the landlord was kind of seeming like we were blowing him off or not. And no, he, as far as I know, in my opinion, the guy had a stroke. And I could tell it the first time, and the only reason I say that is because I took care of two people that had strokes. And I pretty much know all the stuff that's going to happen when you have a stroke. So anyways, and he lives by himself like I do, but he all the stuff that a person who can't take care of themselves was happening. And I'll help him to some point, but I've been a caregiver, and I'm not ever going to do that again. You can be a caregiver to somebody, but in the end, you end up, it's all, there's no glory in that. It's all just, everyone hates you for whatever your failings would be. But anyways, back to this dude. A stubborn cat, a bit of a smart ass, not just a bit, but a lot. And whatever advice I was giving him, he would not take it. So I even told my neighbor, hey, go give him this advice, because I think whatever I tell this dude, he's not going to do from me kind of thing. So I was trying to help him walk one time, and he couldn't lift his foot like a half an inch or nothing. He couldn't lift it to step up on it. It was not a curb or anything. It's just like a 2-inch rise in the concrete. And finally talked him into going to Seton Hospital that time. And we went to visit. I went to visit him there, and they put him out of there like in 4 days, which that's what all the hospitals do. They'll take you in, and then by the 4th day, what are you gonna do, man? You gotta go. Insurance or no insurance, man. You probably have a better chance there if you don't have insurance. But that was my experience with my folks. See, every time we took them in, it's like, when are you gonna get them out of here? It's like, why did we even bring them? So anyways, this guy, I guess it's just old. I mean, I have old man's disease too, you know. I am an old man myself. I'm a very old man. I have younger friends, Keith, who I try to tell them all the time about how all the things that us old guys do. You know, the gawking thing. When we guys get old, you still have desire, man. The desire doesn't go away. But fulfillment does. I was telling my friend about how old guys go snowblind with a pretty chick, with a beautiful woman. They forget to visualize themselves with that woman and how that would look. You know, if you could take a picture, how disgusting that might really look. So a lot of times that can kill your drive as a guy. You just go like, oh no, man. And I really actually did have that situation happen to me recently. Someone who I was trying to avoid on purpose kind of catfished me into this art thing. But anyways, these old guys, you really can't be the judgments out there. Lonely old dudes, us lonely old dudes. Lucky for me, I can paint and while some of the time away, but so I've been sending my friend these links of dudes that get dominated by women that are better looking. Like, well, the first instance would be that Charlie Kirk and his wife were not a match. In the real world, that chick wouldn't have gone out with that dude. In the real world. But I hear that the way I've heard that Yoko actually went after McCartney first. But that dude, you know, he was so confident that he could get anybody. I think that dude's always known he could have anybody. And I think he kind of blew her off. But then she met John Lennon. Actually went to John Lennon's house, I think. But even after that, at some point, she told him that she'd never heard of him. And so he went out of his way to conquer. I've heard Alec Baldwin, the same thing with him and his wife. That his wife acted like she'd never heard of him. And I've heard that about McCartney with that woman. that used to be a porn star and had a missing leg and all that stuff. But anyways, getting back to us old guys, man. Once you're by yourself, you don't know what to do. So, I think it might be harder if you've always had a wife and then you get divorced and you've been used to having everything done for you as far as like domestically, you know, diet and exercise kind of shit. So anyways, I'd had a conversation with this dude, and he said something to me akin to, hey man, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I don't know how I'll ever pay you back. And I told him, you don't owe me anything. You really don't owe me anything. I haven't really done that much for you. I've been keeping an eye on you, knocking on your door, and, you know, and I even told him, I'm even afraid to do that, because I never know what I'm going to find upon entering your premises. And, but then today, I don't know if he had told, I guess the landlord, because they have to know, they got to get their rent. They, you know, we texted him, hey, where are you? No response. But somehow he was able to respond to her, but that's because the rent, I think, is due. But I got the impression it was made to seem as if we hadn't been visiting this dude, and to tell you the truth, I have not always gotten along the best with this guy. We have some acrimony, but so anyways, said, man, I knew you were suffering, I could see it, and that's the only reason I'm helping you, because there go I, man, you know, that could happen to me. Although I don't think if that happens to me, anyone's going to reach out and help me. So I tell people, if you see me on the street, like it looks like I've been working out and I had a heart attack or stroke, I tell people, don't call 911, just drag me out into the middle of the street. Let's get this party rolling. And, but I've had lifestyle issues in the past, man, you know what I mean? So, and then I'm at that age where I could have just a little blockage somewhere, it's just lingering that could just break loose and give me one of those TIAs. And I know it's easy to say now, but if anything like that happens, if I get catastrophic illness, I don't want to fight it. I'd rather just go get me palliative care. Beam me up, Scotty. Get me out of here, or whatever. I don't see the sense of trying to fight, even with insurance. I don't see this. Well, I guess if you have a lot, but if you have a lot of bread. But even there, even if you have, you're going to be indigent, but with a lot of money, and then everyone's going to try to take your money. And even with a lot of money, I don't think if you're indigent that helps, because you're probably just going to see people that have a lot of money that are fully healthy, and so I think that could be a bummer. Bummer. So anyways, that's kind of the cool thing about painting. I can kind of hash out the dealios, but yeah, we hadn't even told the landlord. I just texted her, hey man, this has been going on for months, just so you know. stroke, so maybe he doesn't know that, but... So the next thing that's going to happen is, or might happen, is if he goes into a nursing home, he'll get a couple of visits the first couple of weeks, and then after that, people stop going, man. And the other thing is his children were not visiting him here when he was quasi-okay. So I doubt they're gonna, once he's in a home, I don't know how he's gonna do it. I don't know how he's gonna survive on, he's gonna have to have a caregiver. Well, maybe he's not that bad, but I'm hearing that he's having speech problems. But yeah, I'm kind of a, if he blew off a follow-up, maybe they had diagnosed him, with a stroke. In which case he shouldn't have come home and burned through 2 packs of cigarettes in one day. Well, I'll go visit him, but I'm not gonna visit him today. I'm gonna go visit him either Thanksgiving or the day before or something like that. That's gonna be depressing for him. But, hey, what am I doing Thanksgiving? I don't got anything to do Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll go get a hospital meal with him. They should have a cafe. I looked on the map to find out where this facility is, and it's, the layout, the architecture is the same as the facility my folks are, that spoke pattern of a hospital. You go into an entrance, it's in the center, and then it's got 4 wings, like an X, like a giant X. And then each wing probably has 20 rooms, 10 and 10, something like that. And then they'll have a bunch of plaques on the wall about how profitable they are. Man, that, yeah, it's not a pretty thing. What a drag it is getting old. Hope that's right. How's that looking? Like there's a missing arch in all of these right in the middle. Did you know that? Did you know that? So I guess it's cool. I guess I kind of informed the landlord. And I guess maybe he doesn't realize that we don't magically know where he is. But the other thing too is, I had an uncle that was the same situation. I had an uncle who was basically he'd always been a party boy. And in his older years, he was doing blow. And I think the guy was pretty much a swordsman. But I think he had a coke stroke. I know a young girl that had a coke stroke. She was only 30, and she was from El Paso, living here. But same thing, about 65, 64. And I know he was upset, but that was his lifestyle. But what happens when they're like that too is that, so it was just me and my dad were visiting him. His kids, I think they couldn't come anymore because I think they tried to jack his social security number. You imagine that the guy's in a state home and somebody in his family had the bright idea to steal his social, which of course there's going to be all kinds of red flags because that number was, pretty much for a ward of the state. So hopefully Rick will get better, but I heard he had speech problems, so. But also there was a time when he had a window there to alter lifestyle, maybe help his situation slightly, but I guess not. I was going to put on some music, because I always have music when I'm doing this. And I haven't even checked my my YouTube feed. Oh. Live, Epstein survivor exposes powerful friends. Trump, Clinton named. Wow. I kind of like doing the foliage edge like this to kind of, because there's a point where the shrubbery gets thinned out over as it gets farther to the edges, and then the sky starts to bleed through. So I want to be pretty thorough on this, make sure I got everything. I see that's not sealed in. I was going to paint outside, but there's a chance of rain, and we still have a lot of mosquitoes, man. And then it's supposed to be like 70 degrees, and it felt more like it was 80. It felt muggy, and then I started seeing flies right away, and I said, all right, I don't want to deal with all that today. I just want to paint. And then I think everybody's already out of town for the holidays. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. And I have a neighbor that's gonna talk on the phone, but it's endless outside, loud as hell. I don't even think he's on the lease, but whatever. You know, I don't need to hear your life. I mean, that's right outside my door and just goes on and on. And I think most of it's nonsense most of the time.
listening to the Epstein disclosure thing.
How's it looking, man? Can you dig it?
Mac, I just quit smoking for shit.
Sorry if I've gone quiet. I'm listening to this Epstein file stuff. It's going to rock the world for sure, I think. But let it be, let it be. Is my head in the way? Gotta say, it's looking good, right? Alright, now this stream has been going on for 54 minutes and 2 seconds. So this looks pretty good, I think. Now, I think I need to do a couple of, well, I can't really do these videos for too long because if nobody watches, it really messes up my algorithm.
I'm getting hungry. Why am I so hungry?
See what it looks like, huh? All right, I'm gonna do a couple of little pencil lines. Let's get this thing in the oven. So, I was just kind of ranting and raving earlier. And it had nothing to do with art, but in the end, the art won.
I was talking to my neighbor Danny, and I was, just telling her that I'm almost there with having these same health issues. The older you get, man. Yeah, man. The older you get, man. No, we have been visiting him, man. This is just reflection, so I don't really think it has to be all that super tight. The right thing, baby. You are witnessing the majesty, the mastery of Ricardo Calzadilla. La da 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 da. So yeah, we were talking about social connections and all that, and how important those are. And I was telling her, I don't know, man. It's hard these days. Everyone is on a superficial level. And I meet a lot of people my age who are just like not wanting to talk to anybody anymore. Because everything's an issue with everybody. And everyone's all upset about every little thing. And I didn't do it. Don't get mad at me. Getting fired up at that on the Epstein's files thing. La da 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 da. So these edges here, this is mainly, whoa, whoa, whoa. Damn, that's twice. Somehow this, think I'm going to take a little stream break for now. I think I have most of the Alright, it's at 1 hour and 8 minutes, so that's good for now. I will end this podcast shortly. Thanks for watching. Sorry about all the whistling, but I'm assuming no one's watching, so. Alright, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. I need subscribers.